welcome Distinguished Toastmaster Karl Righter.
Thank you, Jessica. Have you ever seen a more enthusiastic Toastmaster than Jessica Guthrie? Well, maybe Tony Gibbs. But she's on steroids, I think. Last time I was here, she was so over the top, I pulled a muscle. Tonight's actually the first time I've seen Tony when she didn't have her Toastmaster lapel pin on. Asked her where it was earlier. She said, "Oh my gosh, it must still be on my pajamas." Now that's enthusiasm. Fellow Toastmasters, tonight 7 new officers will be installed with hopes of bringing to your club once again President's Distinguished Club status. The jobs that these new officers tonight and other club officers around Toastmasters International will do will continue to be one of the best kept secrets of Toastmasters. Because there is this general perception that Toastmasters is primarily a public speaking organization or a drinking club. I've heard that as well. But one of the most valuable benefits of Toastmaster membership is the opportunity to learn practical leadership skills in a safe environment where you can try new ideas, entertain new strategies, maybe fail, and not have it cost you your job, promotion, or a sale. And yet, not enough Toastmasters take advantage of these leadership opportunities. It's hard to get people to serve in club offices, isn't it? Do you have that challenge here at facilitators?
No, not at all. No, never.
You're one of the few clubs then that doesn't have a waiting where the people avoid office. Maybe we need to change our perception that leadership is a chore, an obligation, rather than a wonderful opportunity. Back during revolutionary Boston, there was an old lamplighter whose job it was every evening as dusk approached to go down the street in his neighborhood and light the street lamps. So he would put his ladder against the street lamp, climb up, light the lamp, climb down, take his ladder to the next street lamp, and repeat this process all the way down the street until you could no longer see the old man. But you always knew which way he went by the lamps that he lit. Our challenge as leaders then is to be lamplighters, to light the way for others, and to lead by example, because by helping other people be successful, we are all successful. So what is a leader? On paper, leadership looks simple. The classic definition is that management is getting things done through other people. And for years, that was my philosophy. I really believed that there was no task or chore so difficult, formidable, or intimidating that it couldn't be delegated. However, those who have held positions of leadership know it's not that simple. There are many qualities in effective leadership that I teach in my leadership workshops. But tonight we have time only to cover a couple of the more important ones. The first of these is alluded to in a biblical quote that we all have heard: "The meek shall inherit the earth." Now, this has been misunderstood for many, many years. The suggestion is that weakness is a leadership benefit or attribute. However, the original Greek translation of the word meek is power used with restraint. Power used with restraint. Think about that. In the business world, leadership positions come with considerable power. We have the authority to hire and fire people, withhold promotions, bonuses, transfer people. But in a volunteer organization like Toastmasters, we have no leverage. I found that out the hard way the year I was district governor. I wanted to fire one of my area governors. And he just laughed at me. He said, "You can't fire me. I'm not doing anything." right about that, and there was also no evidence that he was using performance-enhancing drugs either. But there is an upside to the reality that here at Toastmasters and in other volunteer organizations, we have no leverage. And that benefit, that upside is that if you can learn to be a leader here, you can probably be a leader anywhere. So how do we lead without leverage? Simple. You work as a team. You solve problems together. You paint a picture of what is possible and what is within the reach of your team members. You promise a payoff because we all want to know what's in it for me. What's in this for me? And most important, you encourage your team members to come up with solutions to problems and plans for the future rather than have you tell them what needs to be done. So what is the payoff of this strategy? The payoff is that your team members are more likely to run with their ideas than with your directives. So the effective leader uses power with restraint. Another important characteristic of the effective leader is vision. Being able to see the big picture before the portrait is even painted. In 1970, when Disney World opened, a reporter asked Roy Disney, "Isn't it a shame that Walt Disney isn't here today to see all of this?" Roy Disney said, "He did see all of this. That's why it's here." Vision, a rare quality. Let's face it, most of us have 20/20 hindsight. We're very adept at analyzing a situation, a mistake that we made, and saying, in hindsight, I should have done that. Or, in hindsight, I should have done that. A few years ago, I had lunch with Roy Shearer, the husband of one of your members, Judy Shearer. We decided to eat outside because it was a beautiful day. This was at Spats, and they had tables out on the patio. Well, I noticed that Roy was sitting on a newspaper, presumably because the chair was wet when he arrived. Not having read the Sentinel that morning, I walked over to Roy and I said, "You reading that?" He looked at me dumbfounded. And then he stood up, turned the page, sat back down and said, "Why, yes, I am. I'm doing a crossword puzzle." In hindsight, that was a dumb question, wasn't it? And we've all done that, right? Accordingly, in my time management workshops, I teach a concept called 20/20 foresight. It's a strategy that encourages proactive behavior rather than reactive behavior. For example, have you ever gone to the airport to meet someone's flight? And when you got there, found out that the flight had been canceled. 20/20 foresight would have suggested that you call ahead and see what the status of that flight was and save yourself a wasted trip. How about this one? Walking, facing traffic is a proactive idea that can save lives. And yet I see so many people walking or jogging with traffic, unaware that a car may be coming behind them and starting to drift off the road because the driver is asleep or drunk. Be proactive. Envision what can go wrong. My philosophy about this, of course, has backfired on occasion. Years ago, I went on a lunch date with somebody I met on a dating site. And after lunch, he said to me, "Karl, I don't think you're the man I want our future children to spend every other weekend with." Now that's looking ahead. I challenge the incoming officers to sharpen your 20/20 foresight, to map out and plan your entire term right now before you even take office, or shortly after this evening. You want to establish dates for theme meetings, events, contests, district conventions, even your next election. Put it on the calendar, schedule it, because 6 months goes by so quick, and there's way too little time to make a difference as an officer. So start now. Set objectives for your administration with deadlines, because only with deadlines will things happen. And I can speak with authority on that. The 25 years, I procrastinated about writing my book. Oh, I was doing the workshops. People were asking me, do you have books or tapes? No. Think of all those sales I lost for a quarter of a century. Last year, I set a goal, an objective of writing one chapter a week until it was done. And this is the result. My book, How to Win Your Audience. So vision is another essential leadership quality. In summary, these two characteristics, power with restraint and vision, are among the most critical characteristics of the effective leader. Fellow Toastmasters, there has never been more of a need for effective and great leadership. Because without good leadership, worst case scenarios tend to happen. Consider the Titanic disaster. The amazing thing about that tragedy was not that the presumably unsinkable ship sank. The amazing thing about that tragedy was that despite hours of warnings about ice in the sea lanes, the great ship plowed full speed into an iceberg with the lights on, the band playing, the people dancing, and the captain asleep in his stateroom. We can prevent tragedies like that. We can prevent setbacks like that by planning ahead. Will you be a lamplighter, embracing the principles of leadership that light the way for others? Because as Toastmasters, as leaders, as citizens, will you do your jobs with integrity, with class, and with professionalism? So that even when you are out of sight, people will know which way you went by the lamps that you